Welcome to the second part of the Central Region debates of the Great Debaters Contest. We have some ridiculously heated debates for you here today. I am your host, Mariam Bishar. Enjoy the show. Our first show of debate prowess was between Nyeri High and Mumbi girls. Their motion was very simple. Is legislation the solution to moral decadence in society? The debate started with a very charismatic young man, Daniel Wega of Nyeri High. He simply told us perfection is unattainable, and that is why we need laws.
Ladies and gentlemen, a law is the most exact statement that governs the morality of a human being. We can't say that laws are 100% efficient. No, they're not. Nothing in the world is 100% perfect. You can look at sodium, aluminium, magnesium, even gold. None of them are perfect. Not even water that you drink. It's not 100% pure, but it works as a solution. Laws are not 100%, they are not 100% perfect, but they make a difference. They're the best solution, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I rest my case.
The ladies were also not shy to bring their A-game. Catherine Gitau of Mumbi Girls stated for us that we have trouble already enforcing the laws in place. Why make new ones?
According to my understanding, rules have been made. Others are still in the making, and yet more are still to be made. But what is the essence of the government, either in our country or many other countries around the globe, to continue making laws, yet they're not checking if the existing ones are efficient enough? For instance, our Kenyan government have come up with a law against alcohol. They have set specific moments at which the bars and the clubs should be open. But isn't that applicable across the country? Of course not.
Rebuttals are what came next, and Thomas Ndungu of Nyeri High was quick to state that we should not be pessimists. We have laws to thank for some of the more positive things in our society.
Female genital mutilation, an intriguing issue that was ravenously eating up our society, that was ravenously eating up our beautiful ladies, is now a thing of the past, all thanks to legislation. So opposes. Let's try not to be very pessimistic. Let's not look at the 2% of the total population who do not follow the law. Let's look at the 98% of the population who are subject to the law. It is legislation that makes them morally upright.
The next rebuttal came from the sharpshooter Tekla Wanjiru of Mumbi Girls. She simply stated that laws cannot govern our nature and what's in our hearts. Her statements will remain in our heads long after this debate.
How many people go scot-free with the laws that we claim here that will govern morality? Yes, the laws might limit the place I am in, the action that I'm doing, but the laws will not limit my nature. The laws will not limit my heart, because we're talking about homosexuality. Yes, in Uganda they passed a law that claims that people should not practice homosexuality. But do you want to tell me that it's at 0% right now? Are you really sure that it's at 0% right now?
This debate was full of memorable quotes, and one of those was a closer from Bob Kiru, who stated that laws are the invisible bonds that hold society together.
The society is held together by the invisible bonds of a common thought. If these bonds were to be relaxed, ladies and gentlemen, then the society will drift apart. These common thoughts that we are talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, are the laws in which we have put forward, we as a nation, we as a group, to govern us in the way in which we should follow. Then we should therefore not waste another second fighting these laws. Instead, we should be working day and night to find ways in which we are going to enhance these laws without fail.
The final closing statement came from the lovely Paris Wamboy of Mumbi Girls, who stated that some laws are just short of being ludicrous. Laws are not always just, and therefore we cannot expect them to govern our morality.
Actually, all of us, and each and every one of us over here, we know that marrying two women is not right? We are all Christians. I myself am a Christian. I'll not like to share a husband, that is. And also you guys will never like to share. So if you're all Christians, so this law that has been passed on Friday, that we are the law on polygamous, is supposed to be passed. I think that is total illness and madness.
Very good teamwork exhibited by the two teams, Mumbi Girls and Nyeri High. Not so much of passion and conviction. We didn't feel that, come out strongly, but your mastery of topic is great, and there is evidence of research having been done. I liked the variety of examples that were given across, the two teams as you defended the side of the debate that you had. But very good work. I was entertained. I enjoyed myself. All the best.
Nyeri High School, I'll start with the first speaker, Daniel. I appreciate the fact that you do not come to say that legislation is the 100% solution. You say that it is not 100% perfect, but you admitted that there's some things that can do, which was very good. And I think that's the essence of debate. Yes, presenting your argument as well as acknowledging the weaknesses it have. Thomas, mastery of topic was well done. Your presentation and your convincing, that goes across also to 1-0. Bob, I mean, you're amazing. Your mastery of topic, your mastery of language, you're a great speaker, you're coherent in your argument, and I want to commend the fact that I never saw you with a paper reading. I don't know whether you had mastered all this, they were just flowing. I think that's commendable. So all the best to the winning team.
The judges' verdict is that Nyeri High are the winners of this debate. But they still, they got 72% from the judges as opposed to Mumbi Girls 67. That means that they proceed to the next round, but both teams did a good job, so let's give them a warm hand. We hope they do better next time, so let's see them shake hands as they leave the stage. Our second debate of the day was on a discussion that we've had time and again. Should Africa be left to solve its own problems? The contenders in this debate were St. Mary's and Karima Girls. Let's see how they fared in this competition. Intellectual was the only word we could find to describe the first debater of the day, Peter Chege from St. Mary's. He was quick to state that Africa has been the crybaby of the world for too long and that foreign aid is the reason we are still considered the dark continent.
We have seen what is happening. We allow these people to come in the name of helping us. They bring in their industries, they ruin our climate, and what happens after that? We are left as the dark continent still. We have nowhere to go, we have nothing. And what does this lead to? It leads to us going back to them for their help. And surely, do we want to say that Africa will always be that country which will never learn about solving its own problems? Will we still be the continent that is the crybaby of the global world?
What was perhaps one of the most powerful quotes of this debate came from the lovely young lady, Emma Kemunto. Her words were simple: the truth provokes those it cannot convert.
Africa should be left to find solutions to its problems. Really? Do you think that is true? I don't think that is true. I believe that Africa should not be left to find solutions to its problems, and that is the absolute truth. And you know, one thing with the truth is that it does provoke those whom it cannot convert. Definitely, it can't convert you. So the kind of provoking I'm going to get from you will only confirm to me how true we are when we say that Africa should not be left to find solutions to its problems.
Sierra Leone, Rwanda. These are just but a few of the African countries that have managed to solve their conflicts internally. The rest of Africa can do it too. Those were the sentiments of Isaac Mbugwa.
First of all, Africa has independent judicial systems. We cannot cite that we've been unable to solve our own conflicts. We have handled our own cases. For example, we have had the Sierra Leone Tribunal, who has ever complained that it did injustice to those it served. We have helped in solving the Rwanda genocide. We did not have to involve the International Criminal Court. By then it was not there, and hasn't justice been done.
More words of wisdom came from Grace Maina of Karima Girls. She gave us a simple analogy. You cannot expect a child to grow by keeping him from his mother.
Africa is still growing up, and that's a fact that we all agree with. For example, most of our countries are rated as third world countries, meaning we are developing. We are facing problems like low illiteracy levels. We are having problems like our industries are not yet developed. What do we need? As far as we are growing, as far as you tell us that a child who is growing needs to be kept away from the mom at times for that child to grow, we still need their help. That is a fact. That is a fact all of us here need to acknowledge.
Next came the closing remarks, and Ian Matindi began us off in this regard. He reminded us that even those we consider our godparents suffered teething problems when they were young. Let's be patient with Africa.
During those clashes, the tribal clashes of 2007-2008, that was one time of weakness in our country, Kenya. And in all developing nations, there are times of weaknesses. If you look at the Western countries, there was the First World War and the Second World War. Tell me if that was not a time of weakness. And as we all know, time is a healer of all wounds. So as time progresses, Kenya will, our continent and also our country will be able to develop more and be able to solve their conflicts in a better and more civilized way.
The last closing remark of the day came from Martha Muzungu, who reminded us that Africa simply does not have the capacity to solve its own problems.
As Kenya, we thought that it would be unwise to handle these cases in our country. That's why we proceeded to ask for the help for ICC. But then again, I'd like to remind you, the only time that we raised an objection was after, when we came to realize that these people were serious. Because in Kenya, I'm sure you've been hearing of judicial reforms. You want us to handle our cases in this country, but you keep on forgetting that our judges, before these reforms that have just happened, were very corrupt. How could they be able to handle all these cases with all the corruption that was going on?
I'd want to start with Karima Girls, and I will speak to individual participants. Emma, being the first speaker, you are a great speaker, good mastery of language, good use of questions as well. Grace, good cross-examination. You mastered your topic very well, and you had passion and conviction, and your coherency of argument was great. In fact, if I was asked, I would reshuffle you to be the first speaker. Martha, good use of local sayings. For example, you've just given a proverb. Good use of your time to even cross-examine and give additional points. However, when you generalize and tell us facts that are not factual or not proven and say that all judges are corrupt, then we shouldn't have even courts in this country. That's a very strong term to say on the stage. And so for that, you were penalized.
I'll go to a couple of specifics. Let me start with St. Mary's Boys. I liked your first speaker, that is Peter. Other than everything else that my colleague has said, is you may want to work on your pace of presentation, because you have very good points, but when you run through them, then your audience cannot recall. Isaac, good use of examples as well, very good points. I love your composure, very cool, calm and collected, which is good. Ian, good response to the question. But I think for the whole team, one consistent thing is you kept on saying they come here, they do this, they do that. Who are they? Are you talking about colonizers? Are you talking about the West? Are you talking about, the Asian countries? So this they is ambiguous. And that was a big problem for me. I kept on wondering who's they. Not that I don't know, but that if somebody was to tune in midway, they're wondering who are you talking about.
From the judges, Karima Girls got 66%, and St. Mary's Boys got 67%. So a round of applause for both teams, please. Ladies, a fight well fought is not a loss, so we look forward to seeing you another year back on the stage. And to the gentlemen, we'll see them in the next round. For this show, it's a wrap. Let's appreciate them one last time. We now go on a commercial break, but when we return, we discuss the very sensitive issues of nuclear energy and formal education. Stay with us. Welcome back to the third season of the Great Debaters Contest. We have more witty debates in store for you. And first to face off, Nanyuki High and Narumoru Girls. The question they seek to answer for us: has formal education killed creativity? This debate began by Samuel Mwiga from Nanyuki High, who gave us a very powerful statement. What use is formal education if we cannot have creativity or enterprise?
How can a fixed way of learning promote the creation of new ideas? How can it work? Of course, most of us go to school. But why do we go to school? Most of us go to school just to pass, to get that A. The second reason that most of us go to school is because it's compulsory. But how can this assist us if the formal education does not include systems that promote our creativity and enterprise?
The first lady to hit the stage was Claire Washira, and she put it to us simply with her words of wisdom. Formal education is just a stepping stone to create out-of-this-world ideas.
Formal education has only been a stepping stone to award me the ability to create and to come up with new things. Take a look at high-profile entrepreneurs. Most of them who exhibit out-of-the-world ideas. They have relied on formal business courses to develop their imagination.
The rebuttals are usually the best part of the debate, and this one did not disappoint. Anthony Munene began us off by reminding us that formal education is just a way of playing it safe, and it does not absorb ideas.
I do believe that all of you here are creative. Why then don't we learn about your creativity in books? Why don't we have some of the concepts that you are coming up with in books? It is so simple, because whenever you try to come up with a new idea, your teacher will tell you, follow what is in the books and you'll be safe. Now, students, why then do we have to follow an education system that cannot take up your ideas?
After that, in came Rispa Gitau, who put it to us that we cannot learn to express ourselves without formal education, and that therefore gives us the space to exercise creativity.
Creativity is never learnt or taught. Creativity is from within. And formal education starts from the nursery school. We are taught how to read and write. How can you tell me that without formal education kills creativity, yet without learning how to read and write, how can I express and bring out my creativity to the people? How can I deliver that creativity that I have from within without having the skills of reading and writing?
Formal education teaches us to seek employment. Creativity, on the other hand, teaches us to create our own. Those were the very wise words of Paul Juma.
how many people have degrees and they're out there looking for jobs? Are those people taught about creativity? How many people have degrees in entrepreneurship, in business? How many people out there have degrees in medicine, in law, and they're still suffering? If these people could have been taught about creativity, we could have seen that these people could not only rely on this degree, they could have made up their mind and started a new thing. So this formal education, it does not bring up anything else. It just adds up to many problems.
The lovely Frances Mutahi wound down the debate by citing the boy band Sauti Sol as a good example of people who have used creativity as a propeller from formal education.
Let me tell you about the members of the Sauti Sol. All of them are graduates, and not just graduates from any other course, but graduates from these courses that we call concentrated mathematics and scientific courses. For example, one of them, as we talk right now, is in Strathmore School, doing a master's in mathematics and statistics. How can we say that formal education that he has acquired, the highly formal education that he has acquired, has killed his creativity? How?
Well, I must applaud your research. You've done a good job, and this is now what we call a debate. In fact, I felt that we are now back for another session. A new day has come, and that is good. So kudos to both teams. To me, that was great teamwork. So all the best to the winning team.
A very good job exhibited by two teams, very good teamwork, an interesting debate, evidence of research, but all the best to the two teams.
The judges gave 61% to Nanyuki High School and 67% to Narumuru. That makes them the winners. Give them a hand.
Our last debate of the day was a face-off between the lovely ladies of Our Lady of Lourdes and Tumutumu Girls. Their motion was a tough one to handle. Should African countries invest in nuclear energy? Ivy Alice began us off with a very powerful start with these clear, concise facts. Nuclear energy is the way forward because very small amounts give back large returns.
Nuclear energy is the energy stored in the center of the nucleus of an atom. It can be used to do many things. Example, generate electricity. And one of the things that nuclear energy can help, one of the advantages of nuclear energy is that nuclear plants produce a large amount of electricity in a relatively small space, and it only needs a small quantity.
Africa has bigger priorities, such as alleviating poverty, before we can begin to think of investing in nuclear energy. That was the opening remark of Faith Kibathi.
We have these uranium deposits, but do we have that enough money to invest in building up these nuclear power plants in Africa? Should we even first go to alleviate poverty from Africa, or should we go looking for money to build these power plants? We have a lot of poverty in Africa that we need to alleviate. We need to kick out. We'll first look at the cost of investing this nuclear energy.
The rebuttals are a chance for both teams to show us their true intellect, and Mary Claire did just that by reminding us that nuclear energy is more reliable and sustainable in comparison to fossil fuels.
Nuclear power is highly reliable. Why? Because it does not depend on the weather conditions such as the water and the wind powers. Also, it is sustainable. And why do I say this? It can last 500 to 700 days without being refueled, unlike the fossil fuels.
A snappy retort quickly came from Gloria Ndege, who reminded us that Africa simply lacks the capacity to manage the risks associated with nuclear energy.
Nuclear energy causes a lot of accidents. While engineers are being put into place to make sure that these accidents actually reduce, we still hear cases of nuclear accidents causing a lot of death in our country and also other countries in Africa. And also there is lack of risk management. To ask the audience, it is even more expensive to correct a mistake, for example, the leakages that harm a lot of people, than to even put in the nuclear power plants in Africa.
Closing remarks are usually the team's last chance to try and convince the audience and the judges. Vivian Zhao tried to do just that by citing that nuclear energy does not affect our natural resources.
It is environmental friendly. The waste produced by nuclear energy is less compared to the other sources of energy like coal or natural gas. Thus, it is conducive and it does not cause global warming. It saves on space, that is land, for habitat preservation, and it absolutely has no effect on land, water, or air resources.
Esther Gisheru, a very strong speaker, was at hand to close the day for us by reminding us to prevent the accidents and incidents that come as a result of using nuclear energy.
We have the risk of terrorism attacks. We have experienced terrorism attacks previously in Kenya, and I'm really imagining in 1998 we had a bomb dropped. This bomb was not a nuclear bomb, that was quite evident. But imagine the impact this bomb would have. Considering that this bomb would have been nuclear energy, would we be able to bring back Kenya back to its economy? Would we really afford that? Trust me, curing something is more expensive than preventing it in the first place.
I'm a little bit disappointed that you did not do justice to this motion. I will not commend the research that was done on both teams, and so we start on such a low note. And the school that will manage to go to the next stage, if at all they will, you must understand that we're not just looking at only winning as a school. We have losers here who may lose at high points, and we have a situation that we have to address at such kind of particular times. So you must put all your best when you're on stage. So kindly, let's do justice to the motions that we have, and let's invest more in terms of time for research.
I was disappointed. He says he was a little disappointed. I was very disappointed. And I sat here and I asked myself, what's a debate? Okay. A debate is a contest of argumentation between two teams. And when you started, there was no contest, you know. And so I felt like you were taking us through a science class, which was good. But remember that you're here to debate, not to lecture. You all sounded like you were presenting a lecture on nuclear energy. We are here to debate, and we want to see that that contest comes out really, really strongly. And so based on that, you know, the two schools did not do justice to the motion. I must also accept or acknowledge the fact that this was a difficult motion, you know, and under the circumstances, you gave it your best.
So Tumu Tumu Girls wins this debate. Okay, that with a margin of 4 points. They scored 59 from the judges, while Our Lady of Lourdes got 55%. So thank you, ladies, for the debate. We hope to see you in the future. And shake hands as you leave the stage.
That last debate wraps up our Central Region debates, but before we go on, let's get the schools that have proceeded to the inter-regional debates. We have Kahuhia Girls, Kiaguthu Boys, Nyeri High, Kagumo High, Mugoeri Girls, Bishop Gandu Girls, St. Mary's Boys, Mumbi Girls, Narumoru High, Karima Girls.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers,
webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together, they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
Be sure to catch us next week as we move to an entirely new county. Which one? You'll have to watch to find out. I have been your host, Mariam Deshar.